What is going on, YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, bringing you yet another Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle today against subscriber/follower. Apparently I can't pronounce the word follower. Follower on Twitter. I did get this battle over Twitter, so I will put his stuff in the description below. But before we get into the teams, just want to remind you guys that as long as this video reaches the magical number of 50 likes, we're going to continue those double daily Wi-Fi battle uploads for you, and all that good stuff. Now, looking at the teams here, before I go any further, I do want to say that this is a UU match. Definitely an underused match. But, that being said, he is bringing a Slowbro. I know that it's overused. It is definitely an OU Pokemon, but the set that he's running on it is not really fitting for a UU metagame. Or not UU, OU metagame. So, I'm really not upset that he brought it whatsoever, because it's not even Regenerator, it's Oblivious. So, it's actually a really cool set, and many props to you for even trying this, by the way. Very, very cool set. So, not that I would be a stickler for it anyway, because I don't get upset over one Pokemon, especially if it's a mistake or whatever. I don't care. It's not that big of a deal. We're just about having fun, having some good battles, you know, all that good stuff. So, looking at the rest of his team here, he's got Mienshao with a Slowbro we already talked about, Electros, Florges, Drapion, and Serperior. Finally, somebody's using Drapion. Finally, somebody is using Serperior. For the longest time, I felt like I was the only one this generation that was using these two Pokemon competitively, because I just hadn't seen them at all, ever. But, yeah, a lot of interesting Pokemon going on here. On my side, I've got Choice Band, Flygon, Choice Specs, Magmortar. I've got a bulky Toxic Spikes, Tentacruel, Assault Vest, Machamp, Specially Defensive Meganium, and we're dusting off the Kumonga. Because why not? Haven't used Galvantula in a long time. The last time I used him, he may have actually been OU. He was OU for a while. He is UU now, so I thought, you know what? That's a perfect chance to get him into a battle. So that is what we're going to do. The Galvantula lead is painfully obvious on my part, so he's going to lead off with the Serperior. That tells me that it has Taunt. That's the first thing that I think when he leads off with this Serperior, which is going to be faster than Galvantula. So I lead off with my Flygon, go for the U-turn as he puts up the Reflect, so that does soften the blow, even though U-turn is going to be super effective. Now I can go into Galvantula, bluff the Sticky Web as he goes for a Taunt, and then Bug Buzz him and hopefully kill him. And that is exactly what he does. He goes for the Taunt, and the Bug Buzz without Light Screen up, that is going to be a dead Serperior. So not a bad start for me. He does still have the Reflect up. This thing probably has Light Clay, because I did not see any kind of recovery items or anything. So we're going to have 8 turns of Reflect up. He does go into the Electros, and what that Taunt does is it still prevents me from going for Sticky Web for a few more turns. So at least he avoids the Sticky Web for now. I'm going to have to Volt Switch out, predicting the Flamethrower, because that is the obvious move that's coming up next. So I'm going to switch into Magmortar to take that, and he takes that pretty well. And now I'm going to unleash a Choice Specs Fire Blast on something. He decides to stay in, probably go for the Volt Switch, and that's exactly what he does. The Flamethrower. The Fire Blast does a lot of damage to this Electros, almost kills it in one hit. He might be running Assault Vest, because obviously he's not choiced, he switched moves. So the Assault Vest might have just saved him there. He's going to bring in Scorpio, the Drapion, which is surprisingly fast, because it has like base 90 or 95, something like that, base speed. But anyway, he kills me with a knockoff, so in comes Kumonga again. And now I'm pretty much free to either Volt Switch to get some momentum, or set up a Sticky Web. So I decide, you know what? I didn't see any Defoggers or Rapid Spin users on his team. I'm going to go for that Sticky Web now, because why not? Then we can Volt Switch out, and that really doesn't do that much damage at all, because Florges is so bulky on the special side. So bulky. So we're going to bring in Tentacruel, because its likely only attacking move is going to be Moonblast, as he goes for the Wish there. And usually how they do a lot of damage is with Toxic. So he can't Toxic me. All he can do is the not very effective Moonblast. He's going to try to pass a Wish here, so I'm definitely going to go for a Scald. It's obvious that the Electros is coming out, because that is his weakened Pokemon. I'm going to have to go for a Scald and hope that it kills. And it does, and I think that it just barely did. It does get a crit there, so maybe not barely. But I think without that, it may have just barely killed. Now, regardless of that, the Mienshao is going to come out. and it can go for a fake out, so I'm just going to protect because I do not want to take, unnecessary damage. There's no point in me taking a fake out. So now he can't do that. He's probably going to go for a U-turn. That would be my guess. So I'm going to go for the skull, try to get a burn, and I do not get it. And it turns out that he doesn't go for the U-turn. He goes for the knockoff. That does a lot of damage. Knocks off my recovery item, and I don't have any other way of recovering HP with this thing. So that is a bit unfortunate. Good play on his part. He's going to switch out here and get the regenerator with Mian Xiao. And in comes the Snapdragon Florges again. And there's no reason for him to not switch it in because it can take a Scald very easily. It probably has aromatherapy if it gets burned. And there is the burn indeed from the Scald. Probably isn't too worried about that. Most Florges do carry aromatherapy, like I said, so not that big of a deal. On the flip side, though, he can't really do anything to me. Moonblast will not do that much at all. So I'm going to switch into Kumanga here. And I figured he would either go for aromatherapy, wish, or maybe even switch out. He does indeed switch out into the Drapion, so my Focus Sash is intact. I really didn't think that he was going to stay in an attack. So what I'm going to do here is go for the Thunder, because I feel like that'll do a lot of damage. And it does do a lot of damage. Almost brings this Drapion into the red. As he goes for the knockoff, knocks off my Focus Sash, which is fine. He's going to have to switch out here because he doesn't want to have his Drapion be dead. Then I can start setting up Toxic Spikes all over the place on this team, and he will be in a lot of trouble. So in comes the Florges again. As I go for the Volt Switch, I figured he would switch there because I figured he didn't want to give up his Drapion at this point. So that allows me to get some momentum on the switch. I can bring in Lineiru, Flygon again. And what I can do here is either go for a U-turn to try to get some momentum predicting a switch, or I can just unleash an Earthquake and have something take it. And he doesn't really have anything that wants to take an Earthquake, especially with the Electros gone. So he's going to go into Bro the Lag, which is his Slowbro. And even without defensive investment, because I believe he told me after the match that this thing does not have physical defensive investment, it can still take that pretty well. Indeed, take that very, very well. Now I'm going to switch out expecting either a Scald or an Ice Beam, neither of which do I want to take with Flygon. So I'm going to switch into the Meganium predicting the Scald, and he does indeed go for the Scald. It was a little bit dangerous on my part. If he did end up going for the Ice Beam instead, I would be dead. I'm not sure if he's even carrying the Ice Beam. Not all do. Some carry Fire Blast, some carry Slack Off, some carry Thunder Wave. He has a bunch of different moves at his disposal. So, that is that. I do get the Scald, though, or he does go for the Scald, so it doesn't do that much. In comes the Snapdragon as I go for a Giga Drain. He pretty much was forced to switch out of Slowbro there. I would say that it would die in one hit to Giga Drain. Although I'm not invested, so maybe a 2-hit KO, but he can't really do anything to me regardless. So this Snapdragon, this Florges is really worn down now. Really, really worn down. Another Giga Drain is going to bring it down to almost no HP. He goes for the Wish, and the burn damage is going to finish off this Florges, I think. He gets the leftovers, and I still think that burn is enough to kill him. Pretty sure. Yep, there he goes. Down goes his special defensive wall. So that is a good time for me. And he's probably going to try to send out his Drapion here. That is indeed what he does. And he's going to get his Wish recovery now. There's not really anything that I can do about it. I pretty much have to switch out here because if he goes for Poison Jab, I am screwed. So we're going to go into Tentacruel because he can't do too much to me. And he predicts that very nicely. Goes for the Swords Dance. So not only is he going to be +2 attack, but he's going to get the Wish recovery. And that is a bad time for me. Bad time. Especially because Kumonga has his Focus Sash broken. So we're going to go for the Scald here. Hope that we get a burn. Do not get it. He's going to go for the Earthquake. So this is like an offensive Drapion because his other move is most likely Poison Jab. We've seen knockoff Earthquake and Swords Dance. Poison Jab would be the likely move. Now, even with the Sticky Web, this thing is faster than me. And I actually did not know what Drapion's base speed was. That's why I brought in Machamp there to go for the Dynamic Punch. I mean, it does kill off the Drapion, but I take so much damage from that +2 Poison Jab because of that, and I really didn't need to. And for some reason I thought that Drapion was a lot slower than base 95 speed, but yeah, even at -1, Machamp is not faster. So that is a little bit unfortunate, a little bit of a hiccup on my part. But now that the Mienshao comes in, I have pretty much a free switch because they almost always go for Fake Out the first turn. So I can bring in Flygon to take that. He takes that okay. I am going to outspeed thanks to the Sticky Web Earthquake. There's no chance that Mienshao is surviving a Choice Band Earthquake. Its defenses are pretty pitiful to begin with, even without the Choice Band, included in that. So down goes one of his Regenerator users. Well, I guess his only Regenerator user because Slowbro is not Regenerator, as I said. So we're going to go for the Earthquake again. There's no reason for me to save my Flygon at this point. Absolutely no reason. He goes for the Psyshock, and unfortunately I did crit him with that Earthquake, but I don't think it would have mattered at this point. I'm pretty sure that the match was mostly decided. Another Earthquake is going to take him out. Had that not happened with the crit and all that stuff, he probably would have taken out my Flygon, but I would have been able to switch in my Meganium and just finish him off. And I believe that Galvantula was still alive, so I could have come in with him and just, Volt switched. And that would have been the end of Slowbro. So that crit wasn't game-changing. It was a little bit unfortunate. All it really did, though, was affect the score. And like I said many times before, the score means nothing to me. Because I think that there can be matches that are very close that end up being 5-6-0s. And there can be matches that aren't as close that end up being, 2 or 3-0s, just depending on how it goes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you again for the match, John. It was a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure that we'll have another match at some point. Maybe we can have even a lower tiered match because the RU and NU tiers are starting to come together slowly but surely. So very, very much so looking forward to battling in those tiers. I also want to get into PU, so maybe I can do a couple of those matches. We'll see how things go. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this time, guys. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and do not forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, because it does help out a lot, and it helps us reach that magical 50 like goal. But that's it for this time, like I said, so I will see you for the next battle, but until then, game on.